For our fondant cake, the idea I want you to get here right now is how to do your marble. Now the cake has been covered, placed on a square board, and you have seen me wrap a kind of green color on the waist of the cake. Now I'm going to put another white color on top of the green, as I am trying to represent a country, Nigeria, using their color. So I'm going to show you how I'm able to put the green. It's actually a thick fondant that I rolled just like I rolled this white one now. And then after rolling it, I rolled my rolling pin on top. And after the rolling pin, I used my pizza cutter to cut out a straight line one side. The same the other way, making sure that it is straight. It's actually thick. What I try to do there is to make it have a kind of step. So I've put in the thick green. I am now putting in the thick white. I'm also going to be putting in another thick green in order to create a kind of 3 steps on the cake, on the base side of the cake. As you are doing this, make sure no part is bigger than. As getting it even, that is making all the parts equal, is the beauty of the cake. If you cannot measure it equally with your hand, you can use your ribbon cutter. Set it in a way that you want it the size and then cut. This will give you an equal size rope, so that when you are placing it on your cake, no side will be bigger than the other side. And I want you to get what I'm trying to do. Now the first green I placed on the board is large, that is bigger. The second one I placed is the white, and the white one is smaller than the first green. Okay, remember I'm trying to create a step. And the second green now that I am going to be placing will be smaller than the white. That will be able to make the step visible. If you make it equal with the white, the beauty of what you're trying to create will not be there. Now, rolling out the next green, remember it has to be a thick fondant, because what I'm trying to place there, that is make possible there, is a step-like design. Now, after rolling it like a sausage, you're only like rubbing your rolling pin on top. You're not trying to press it down to give you a very light rope. No. I am not using my strength as I'm placing that rolling pin. All I want to achieve on top of the rope is a kind of a level size. I'm not trying to make it light, okay? Again, with your pizza cutter, you just cut out the side that is not equal, because what you actually need is a straight line. Like I said, make sure your hand is very straight when you are cutting. If you know you can't afford it this way, you use a ribbon cutter. There are so many of them in the market, and it will help in giving you a straight line. I'm using my hand to smoothen it as I'm cutting. So you can see I've been able to cut. I'll now check it. Any part that is not okay, I'll still make my cut again until I get a straight line. So now I roll it to bring it together, and this will help me. If there is any part that is higher than the other side, I will press it down to match it together. So it's a way of checking whether all of them are equal, and then I will use my smoother and then make some movement on top. This will finally bring all of them to equal size. And next I apply something on the cake again, just water. And then begin to apply your green. That's your green paste, the one you just cut out. So you can see I've been able to get the step the way I want it. The first green, the second the white, the third green. Next, you cover a 6 inches cake, applying your chocolate in between. Now arrange it on a board. Hold it down with a dowel rod or a skewer because it's a smaller cake. Even skewer can do the work. Next, roll out a very tiny fondant and cover it. Now, I want you to know that because I am going to be applying green on the body, for every cake I make that has a lot of colors on it, that has a lot of colors on the covering, I first of all cover with white. I cover it lightly, that is, the fondant I'm using to cover must be very lightly rolled out, and then I'll cover it first before covering the major one. Now this will help my cake, when they are cutting it, the colors will not appear there. But if you go ahead and use maybe green or black or whatever color you want to use directly on your cake, automatically when you want to open and cut that cake, all over the body will be that color. And some people can't withstand colors on the cake they want to eat. So to avoid this, you first of all cover with white before covering the main color. I am not being too careful. I'm not being too careful about this covering since I know I'm going to be putting another one on top. Now set it aside. Next is the major reason why we are doing this class today. Roll out your white as long as you can handle, since the cake you are covering is a very small cake. Now the same thing with your green paste. Now twist, hold them together, then roll it like sausage first, and then compress, folding together the two ends, and roll again. Twist again, and then compress again, and roll again. After rolling, twist, and after twisting this time we can go ahead and roll. Hold them together so that you can roll out now. Sprinkle some icing sugar and start. Always try as much as possible not for it to stick on the table, else it may end up destroying everything you have made and you will start again from beginning. Just make sure you're always pouring your icing sugar between the table and the paste, and keep turning so that you'll be sure that it's not gumming on the table. Now apply another buttercream on top of the cake, all over it, and then cover with your marbled effect. Now remember, whenever you cover a cake, the first thing you do is to smoothen the top, thereby making it to lap well on top first. Then after that, you hold the upper part of the cake so that it will not cut from there or start dividing from there. But in this case now, in this particular case now, the cake is very small, so I didn't really bother doing all that. I only rolled it with my smoother, that is smoothing the surface before going down. Now smoothing with your smoother, pressing down on the body so that it will be well lapped, and after, cut off the excess Now, after sprinkling some flour on top, flip over to the board. Remember, I did this because it's quite a small cake. If the cake is big, you don't just carry your cake and flip over. You can easily wound the cake. Just place a board and flip over. So for you to flip over, the first thing you're supposed to do is to push out their edges, so that when you start creating the sharp edge, it will answer you fast. I believe you know what I'm doing already. I'm trying to create the sharp edge. So all I will need to do is to make sure everything goes down to the board. Then next I will just trim it out. Now, after flipping over again, now place it on top of the main cake. Next, insert your dowel rods, making sure that it does not exceed the bottom of the smaller cake. That is to say that the small round board that is under the smaller cake is the measurement you will use on top of this cake to insert all your dowel rod. But because the cake is quite small, I'm only inserting about 5 dowel rod. So what I did was to take one particular measurement and cut the rest of the 4. Now insert the 5 dowel rods on the cake and then position the cake on top. Insertion of the dowel rod. Remember, I just applied a little buttercream there before positioning my cake. The next thing I did was to cover a dummy map. What you see there is a dummy. I've covered it in white. Now, how did I cover it? I first of all placed white on the floor, that is on my work table. Positioned the dummy on top. That is, I rolled out white, positioned the dummy on top. Now rolled out another white, and then cover the dummy, and then merge it with the one on the floor on the work table. That's how I covered it. Now, to get my green, white, green, I rolled out a green again, place it on my board, on my work table, position the dummy I covered, and trim it out. Now remember, for it to hold very well, I applied my shortening. So the same thing I did under of it, I rolled out another one, place the under, and now cut out again. And for me to get the green, white, green, I use my straight scraper to create it. Because I've covered white before I placed the green, it was easy for me to form the green, white, green. And now position my scraper and cut out the middle. So as I remove the middle green, remember, because you are working with shortening, it won't stain. If you are working with water or maybe glue, this double glue, it will definitely stain. The green would have stained the middle. But because I'm working with shortening, I was able to remove the green without a single stain. Remember, it is shortening I used in sticking the green. The same thing I did at the back of the cake, and so this is just like a repetition. I rolled out something like this. Then after rolling out, I applied my shortening on the already covered dummy, and then while this is on the work table, I placed the covered dummy, the side that the shortening was rubbed, on top of the green. Now I traced out the green to give me the map shape of the dummy. Then after that, I now turn it over, and after turning it over, I used my scraper to cut the middle out. That's why it came out very clean like this. So I now use my cream pass to create the mouth, that is to join the mouth to the body of the dummy, so that it won't fall out for any reason. Now remember, the cream pass will join the mouth and at the same time create a design when you are doing this. So after I inserted my dowel rod and nest on top of the cake, and that was it. That was how the whole thing was done. Every other work I did on that cake, you already know how to do it because I started it from the one down. It will be better to join it in the hole, that is taking them separately to the hole. Remember, you cover this cake front and back, and if you are not careful, because I steamed it, if you position it on a board, it will stain. Okay, all you need to do is to use your parchment paper, apply shortening, place it on the board, put it on top, and then put another shortening on another parchment paper. Cover the top of the cake with it, send it like that to the hole, and mount it right there at the hole. Nothing will happen to it. Now I mount it. Look at it very well. So that is how it's supposed to be. But I'm not going to do this in my office. I have to take it straight to the hole to do it. So it has to go separately. Now I still steam the down part of the cake. That is to remove the dusty color on the body. Now for me to take it to the hole, next cut out the name that must be on the cake with your alphabet cutters. Any type at all will work, and position it. Now when I am positioning, I use my steam to do that. Sometimes I also use my shortening, but if it is on white, if I don't want it to fall out and I want it to stick very well, I use my steamer to create a kind of wetness on the cake. Then I'll position it. But even your shortening will still do the same work. Now I have some of my marble that was remaining from the covered cake. All I'm going to do here now is to use my kind of love shape cutter, this heart shape cutter, and cut out some heart designs and then position it on the body of the cake. And that is how I completed the cake. So that is it. Every other one I'm doing here now is just a walkover of what I've already taught you. So watch on. See you in the next class.